Internationale A-cappella Woche Hannover podcast. So hello everybody, this is the 19th episode of the A-cappella Woche Hannover, and we are quite happy to have a huge chat now with our artist-in-residence Accent from all over the world. So maybe we just start that you guys have an impression of who's sitting in this table. Just make introduction of yourselves, maybe.
Sure.
Let's start.
My name is Danny Fong. I come from Canada and I sing tenor 3 in accent.
My name is Simon Åkesson and I sing tenor 2, also in accent.
Where are you from?
Sweden.
My name is Evan Sanders. I sing bass and I'm from USA.
My name is Andrew Kessler. I sing 4th tenor and I also come from Canada.
My name's James. I come from England and I sing baritone, which is mainly 5ths, 3rds and 7ths on top of Evan's root now.
My name is Jean-Baptiste. I come from France and I sing 1st tenor.
Which
So-
is the most
Important.
important part.
Yeah,
that's
very great. So maybe at the very beginning we just start with things you might have said like 1,000 times before, but what's the typical accent story? So because everyone needs to know how you met, many people already know it, but I think it's kind of the most interesting thing about your group from so many countries. How did you met? Maybe with some detailed information you normally not say.
Oh.
So.
Normally we don't say this, but it was through online dating. That's how I'll let Evan actually tell the story.
Sure, I can tell the story. Well, it was a series of meetings rather than just one meeting, and they all happened online though, going back some years now. Simon and JB had met through an online discussion forum on a fan website for the group The Hi-Los, which was a vocal group in the 1950s and 60s, and there was still an active website about the group because they're no longer performing, and they had found that by far they were like the youngest people on this message board, probably by 30 or 40 years or something. But they started communicating and sharing. I don't know, like what you originally.
For me,
noticed.
I stumbled across like the Hi-Los. I discovered that group on the Take 6 message board. I was into message board. Back
I mean, there was no social media.
Yeah, it was
so.
like before. It was like during MySpace days, basically.
Wow.
So before.
So like 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, like before YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
So yeah, I met a lot of people like interested in vocal jazz back then, and then I saw a clip of the Hi-Los and I was like, wow, this is the best vocal live music I ever heard. So I went on to check the website, and then I found this mysterious guy from Sweden. And he was posting some covers of the Hi-Los that he was doing with his brother, and it was incredible. So I was really excited to.
So like 4-part with
you have 4 parts.
You have 3
yeah,
brothers,
and
or
No, it was just one of my brothers, so we
Okay.
sang 2 parts.
Yeah.
each. Okay.
And he was also doing like all the big band arrangement with some MIDI.
General MIDI.
Yeah. But so yeah, we pretty much. I think I must be the one that reached out to you because I was a fan, or like. Right.
Yeah, I can't really remember exactly how it was, but I remember it. We took that relation into MySpace as well. Talked about your "Fly Me to the Moon."
Yeah.
Moon. Yeah.
Because you had music on your MySpace.
Yeah, I
page.
had some clips, and then I heard your arrangement of "Isn't She Lovely," so I transcribed it, of course.
I heard that.
And
Of course you did.
The spirit.
yeah. And so that was the first of all these guys that I met on the internet.
It's great
Do you
that
remember
you.
what year it was?
I think it was like 2005. Or
5. Yeah, I'd been at that message board since it started, and that was like 2001, 2 or something.
Wow.
The funny
It
thing
took
is,
a while until I got my my friend
Yeah.
in the same
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I don't know what year it was, but at some point, I discovered the high-lows the same exact way, having been a Take Six fan, and then learning that they were a big influence, that the high-lows were a big influence on Take Six. So at some point, I also found the high-lows website, and I didn't
by yourselves without knowing these.
No,
guys.
yeah, I didn't. It was many years before I interacted with them, and I didn't know anything about the group or really who the people were or really anything. So I didn't learn a whole lot by going to the website either, because it wasn't a great website. It was just a little bit of info, but
It was
mostly
the
for
best.
the fans. No, but well, it was as good as websites were then. When they weren't that advanced.
Web
You know?
1.0.
But I remember that the first thing that happened when you went to the website is there was a little audio clip that would play, which nowadays is totally obnoxious. You don't go to websites and have audio play. But then it was whoa, very advanced. And I found out after we became a group that because it sounded like it was the high-lows, and it was just welcome to the highlows.com something.
Wow.
And it sounded like the high-lows, and I was like, I wonder how they recorded that if they're dead. Well, they weren't all dead. Only one, maybe. But sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful. Anyway, but I learned after we became a group that Simon recorded that. So
Wow,
I had no idea who he
fun
was.
fact. There's another fun fact about you guys meeting first, because I just learned that you guys all together have 6 children, and they all belong to you too, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We had something going on. Over there.
But yeah, so they were communicating through MySpace, and then a few years after that, YouTube really took off, and it was really, there was a small community of people really sharing videos that were either about jazz harmony or featuring individuals performances of jazz arrangements, and so I'm pretty sure that the rest of us got connected really through YouTube, just finding each other through these common interests. For me, it was searching for Take Six videos and finding JB's trend, his own performances of them where he did all the parts, and then just trying to communicate and say, where did you find the sheet music, and then, which is a common question for Take Six jobs, because they don't publish anything, and then JB saying, I transcribed it, and I'm like, how did you do that?
Too many times.
And so I was communicating like that, and I was actually one of the later people to kind of meet JB online.
Yeah, I found, so around 2009 and 10, so Danny and I are the ones that break the illusion why it's not 6 guys from 6 different countries, it's 6 guys from 5 different countries.
Why?
Yeah. So we went to high school together, and we kind of have a joke about this in the show, but we started singing a cappella pretty early on in high school, and then we decided to go to college together, so we moved from Saskatoon to Toronto, and he studied jazz voice, I studied jazz piano, but I was always interested in singing jazz harmony and singing in a group. So we started singing barbershop, and we sang with the group, but also we would still, Danny was pretty prolific. He had a lot of videos out of him doing barbershop arrangements, some of his own arrangements, but singing other covers and doing barbershop tags, which is the exciting ending of an arrangement.
Great, yeah.
And we both found JB around the same time, who was also doing barbershop stuff, not just the jazz. And he sounded really great, and then he started doing more jazz things, and I thought it was awesome. So we were all kind of talking a bit, and JB was the one who actually introduced me to Take Six. And from that, the high-lows as well. I had found the Singers Unlimited myself from high school, but yeah, it was that was pretty important when you said, you sent me that If We Ever video from when they were called Alliance in 1988, I think, when I was the year I was born.
Yeah.
And that was pretty life-changing. And so yeah, we just kind of kept in touch, and then we did a couple projects with quartets, not quite all 6 of us, but me, JB, Evan, and JB's brother Simon did a video where we took a high-lows chart called Tenderly, and we sang that. And we tried to do our best to green screen ourselves and put us all in the video together to make it look like we're all together. And it was black and white to kind of hide any crappy editing.
Except JB had the hands the size of basketballs.
That's on the
That's the
next.
next. Oh, that's the
on
next
other-
one. Yeah,
okay.
It's
Skipping
because
ahead.
of the
Great.
lens angle.
Yeah.
It's like whoa.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then another group we're influenced by is the New York Voices. They have a great 4-part arrangement of Almost Like Being in Love. That I think you had a chart for, you transcribed maybe.
Yeah, and then JB corrected it.
Yeah, they've been here 3 years ago in the festival.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
That's
We're
great.
big fans.
So before we maybe just come to you, didn't talk so much, but no, I'm interested in how you found the way into your group. But first, I'd love to maybe hear some of these things, because we're talking about the high-lows and we're talking about Take 6, which was kind of your maybe entrance influences for forming this group. And I know that you guys have something of that. Can you just maybe sing like a few bars in the high-low style?
Yeah,
just
sure.
to show what was it what developed your accent style?
Yeah.
overall?
Before that, a thing that we tend to never mention is the first of these guys that I met in person was James, actually.
Same for me.
In London,
Yeah.
at a Take 6 concert. I was with some French friends over there, and we were just singing
French fries.
French friends.
French fries over there.
Yeah, we were singing like before the show, and this young guy showed up like back then. I don't know, you were like 16 or something.
Yeah, it would have been just
And
turned
like-
16.
Where?
Tell that story.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was because I'm the youngest member, which is, I guess, relevant to mention here because I was still very much in school whilst these guys like had like acclaim online, you know,
Mhm.
and some of these guys, like, I think all three of you have had videos that had like 1 million views. So I was sort of like a fan, still
Wow,
learning
cool.
about music and like going to their channel and being very inspired. So there was. So that's sort of, I mean, our age differences aren't widely different, but I think that was probably when it was most noticeable for me because I was still very much in school and very much like, especially JB, since he had like his jazz, like very much like jazz multi-tracks, and I loved Take 6. I've sort of found them through like big band music because my dad was super into jazz.
Cool.
And so yeah, and they'd done stuff with Gordon Goodwin, and we're doing stuff with Gordon Goodwin now, so that's all fun. But yeah, and then so JB, being the epic fan of Take 6 that he is, came over to London to see Take 6, and I've subsequently, you know, like done the same and gone to like Italy to see them back when I was young and like begged my parents, like, please, I need to see them. Because, and it was like both gigs were super life changing because like Take 6 were very much like.
But did you jam there?
Yeah, so Jamie had his group, his French fries, outside the venue. I was like super, whom I've later come to know, and I'm like, oh wait, it was those people, and like, you were singing Take 6 songs like to me, like as well as Take 6. Like it sounded like, I mean, in a different sound, but I was like, what's this glorious music? Where's it coming from? At Take 6 practicing, and upstairs in the corner of the like side of the. Which it was the Pride of Royal Festival or something like that. It was like you guys like just sing along, and they asked me to join in, and I sort of stumbled my way through some of these immense charts, and then from there we kept in touch, and JB encouraged me to put stuff out on YouTube, and that's where I sort of like entered the scene, and then found the other guys, and and you know, luckily got the baritone like off the chance to sing the baritone on our first track together, which was a Take 6 cover back then. Yeah. Sorry, so
He had some
That's fine. No,
There's
that's-
some Christian gospel music in Disney on James's channel.
Not so much back then.
At the
Very
it
beginning.
became that.
It was the Nokia.
Chasing
Yeah,
rainbows.
Nokia.
Did you do I'm Always Chasing Rainbows or something?
Yeah, of course, because I met you.
But
first.
it was like completely in the dark. Like
Yeah,
when
man.
you're like first starting to make videos and stuff, you like
Yeah.
none of the most obvious stuff occurs to you. Like, wow, I should put a light on my face.
Yeah,
It's complete dark.
And you should like
Speak for yourself.
I didn't even, like you should put headphones
you
in
would.
to stop bleed. Like I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that. I
You
like
just
just had
don't.
all the music playing up.
There's
the
nobody
speakers.
to tell you really.
So dumb.
Great. So let's
Anyway,
hear
sorry.
just a short thing from the high-lows, which inspired you so much. It's full part, right?
Like the
Yeah.
version
So
we
who
do
of you
and-
is just
Yeah.
listening?
Everyone knows.
I'll
Yeah,
sing with JB.
Yeah,
I
well, we
double-
can double.
cool,
double
that's
the
great.
parts.
Yeah.
This is a good one for the morning.
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2.
You must have been a beautiful baby. You must have been a wonderful child. When you were only starting to go to kindergarten, bet you drove the little boys wild. And when it came to winning blue ribbons, you must have shown the other kids how I can see the judge's eyes as they handed you the prize. I bet you made the cutest bow. You must have been a beautiful baby, 'cause baby, look at you now.
Great. Yeah, wonderful. So, by the way, it's very early in the morning, so this is one of the things I just witnessed this week that I think it's quite awesome with you guys, that you like, we got you a morning concert like at 11 o'clock, and you guys were like, sorry for that, it wasn't my idea. But
nothing more jazz than...
Yeah. The thing is, you were in the jazz club, and it was like something 9:20 in the morning, and you just counted in, and the first chord were like, bam! So how do you do that? Because I think there are many singers out in the world, also professional singers, and I know for myself that it's kind of hard to get yourself really in the mood of singing, and also in the morning it's hard to get it. But what's your maybe personal way of doing that you are ready to start it like from whenever you just leave the bed?
Well, we're from another time zone, so it was pretty much the right time to be singing for us.
Okay, maybe.
Worse for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure every member has their own like routine or way to warm up. Simon pretty much can no sleep and ride from bed like do whatever he can, but for me, I need to like drink water and like the coffee and warm up a bit the body and breath.
Baguette.
Baguette.
JB's really like, he's very regimented with the warming up, and like it's like I take some inspiration from that, but I need to work harder at actually.
I mean,
like,
you're a bass,
well.
you don't need to warm up.
I know, but still, no, a morning gig is perfect for me. But I still like, it's like there's some leadership that I think you're showing there that I'd like to take a little bit more seriously, because I love how you have like really specific things that you do to make sure you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, if I don't do it, then I'm in trouble. So
I know, but you could easily not do it and put us all in trouble. So just something that I've liked a lot.
I think as a group, pretty early on, we decided that like when it's time at like, if we're rehearsing at this time, it means show up warm. Like it's not, that's when we start like, that's when you start talking and start, warming up. It's like show up prepared, and only because our time is so precious together.
Yeah.
It's so small in quantity. So I think just that kind of sense of just mutual respect of saying like, we only have this much time together, let's really come with our best foot forward. And of course people have bad days, but just the intention that everyone respects the music, what we're doing, and we respect the opportunities that we have. Like 11 a.m. concert isn't my favorite thing to do, although it was an amazing concert, and we're all grateful for the opportunity. So
and maybe it's very helpful that you also what I recognized is you also very much respect each other. So like feeling a little bit honored to be part of that unique thing, and maybe that's also a thing why you just feel like I go prepared. I don't know. It's actually a thing which many groups can learn from you. I feel like that you just get together while being prepared, and bring that gift of being prepared to the others, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, we definitely, that respect that we have for each other, but also like the respect that we have for like prioritizing harmony. Like I think that's all such a big love of ours, like how chords come together, that I think sometimes that, well for me at least, like I'll be in tune even if my want to be in tune will come above like even warming up or being healthy about it, because that's like the priority is like stability of the harmony in the chords, because that's such a big like presence in our music, like that's such a big part of it is the harmony for us in accent. So
and I think before this group, I mean I think one of the things that really sort of solidified our interest in keeping the group going after our first meeting was like how effective the rehearsals were, even from the very beginning. Even though I think we sound way better now than we did in our first couple concerts.
I hope so.
But still, like compared to like certainly like my experience trying to make this kind of music earlier in my life, in different kinds of groups, like definitely even in high school had people who like I could like sort of convinced to try to make some of this music with me, and who might be interested in it or really like the sound, but have no real desire to like, or ability. It's not even really desire, just like not able to commit this level to that level of detail. And I feel like, without realizing it, my assumption was probably that just like people can't really do that. Like they just can't. And then we all show up at our very first rehearsal. It's like, oh, this is how you tune chords. And now it's the kind of things that I think we go when we do our workshops and stuff. We kind of show that this is possible to work in this level of detail and like truly work on like one chord for a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's not bad, and that's not boring, and that's not a waste of time, and it actually really makes people happy.
I think
experienced that before.
The reason it worked so well with this group is because multi-tracking and making a video by yourself is so much work. Like you have to have so much patience and energy and enthusiasm and inspiration to even do like a 20-second video, let alone a full song. So it just takes so much time to do that. But the fact is, we've all done that, and because we love it so much. And so getting together and singing and rehearsing is so much easier than having to do that.
Yeah.
So the payoff is so much more instant. So yeah, maybe it is a lot of hard work, but it's like, it's way more gratifying to do it this way.
Mm-hmm. Did you? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we joke about being in like 5 different long distance relationships at a time. But yeah, just like that idea of doing the multi-tracking thing and then doing it in person, like doing it with other people, making music.
Yeah.
With other people that like it as much as you do is like, Andrew and I, the only people who have known each other growing up, sang in groups growing up, and when you're more inspired to make the music and to work at it than other people in your group, and then when you come together with people who are all like, oh, it feels so good to sing with people who are in it for the same reason, like, it's just
sharing the same love.
Yeah. I'm curious because like you're the one who kind of like, I think, was steering those first rehearsals a bit. I'm just curious, did you learn this also from multi-tracking, or did you was it like even in your family, was your father saying, like having you be like, no, this has to be a little more sharp, or did you like figure this out on your own and then you're telling your brothers what to do, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, it came from my parents, most of it, but also just myself, because I did multi-tracking, but in other ways. No, I didn't do this YouTube thing with the squares of your face multiple times, but I recorded on the computer, and I even did earlier stuff like with a cassette recorder when you could have 2 cassettes.
Yeah.
So first recording one part and then play that part while recording a new one.
Yeah,
and then it came on that.
Without being able to edit the volume.
Yeah, and then the quality went to the worst. So in the end you could hardly hear, but it was like, ooh, I can hear some 4 parts.
Yeah, but in the end it really sounds like it's from centuries ago.
Yeah. No, but definitely didn't think as much back then on tuning the chords. It became more like natural, like, this is how this part sounds as a melody, whatever. I never held the chord and stuff like that. That came later, but I'm pretty sure we did that with my father, who's a choral director. So
as well.
But when accent started, it became way more of that kind of stuff too. Probably because of JB and his background.
Yeah.
Thomas.
I sing in other ensemble, and I felt really helpful. Like we did some Take 6 covers with that other ensemble, Egregor Vocal, and the singers never sang that kind of harmonies, so we had to hold every chord, like chord by chord, to get familiar with that, and so it took ages to get to the last chord of one song. But then the brain and the ears works really well when you do that. because you get used to, okay, so on this chord I have to place my note here.
Yeah, and it
then
feels
you
like
know,
that.
yeah.
I know.
And so for us, like the ballads are great because you get to enjoy every chord.
Yeah.
But then for some pap pap like that, the goal is to still have this feel, but it's so quick that it's hard.
I think a part of your own program, which pretty much illustrates that, is the an outro of "Marry That Girl," where you have like these two sections of the lower and the higher section, and maybe we can just hear that to show that, and maybe start with both sections alone and then put it together, because it's pretty much maybe the idea of how your music works with this upper structure.
Top three.
Yeah.
I was going to say we should all have been expecting this, because you come down to breakfast every day, just marry that.
yeah. I was just trying to convince him to actually do this.
Okay.
Marry that girl. No, unmarried yet.
Okay.
So which section is starting?
Top three, which is just a
yeah.
major triad.
Yeah.
3, 4.
Marry her anyway. Marry her anyway. Marry her anyway.
You get the idea?
Yeah, but that's
the accent sound.
Yeah.
Actually, this is what the audience is doing in your concert.
Yeah.
And they really feel like I could feel, because you just were giving this part to the audience, and they felt like, okay, cool, I got my note, I got the clue, the groove, but now it starts getting some little boring, and then something happens to them, which you are doing, and they feel like, oh my god, that feels different. I'm just singing my note, but it feels different. It's kind of cool, and this is because the harmony in the bottom is changing. Maybe you just can't.
Yeah, we stay like the top three. We stay.
Yeah, but it always feels different
change,
because something underneath is changing.
Yeah, like the top three notes are the major triad is something that most people, even if they don't do music much, are familiar with.
Yeah,
right.
But then like that major chord is just colors to what the actual chord is.
Yeah, actually. So can you demonstrate the lower part?
3.
Marry that girl. 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 Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway.
I know what those numbers are.
7, chord 7, chord 3, chord 2, chord 1. Which is how the relationship changes between.
Aha!
I still want you guys to go and then on the second chord go up a semitone to D major. Yeah.
What would that sound like? Let's try
On
it.
the second chord.
It sounds like an
everyone-
F13.
Okay.
Do we hit the chord and then move up, or do we just?
So you guys go. No. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Double third.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see.
We've done it before.
Never done. We have.
Disclaimer.
Before we've had double thirds before.
Oh, I thought you
yeah.
never tried this before.
Okay.
Right?
World premiere.
3.
Marry that girl. Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway.
Even more jazz. That's cool.
And then the audience is like, what?
Oh, what's
Yeah.
going on? Yeah.
That
So
would be pretty bad.
this funny constant structure idea with it, which is pretty much into jazz. Maybe it's also that you found out that it's cool while you mentioned Take 6. So is it that you're still performing a Take 6 song, or maybe you just did this very short?
Yeah,
Part of it,
in our very first couple gigs, like we didn't have a lot of repertoire, and we didn't think we would ever actually perform live. We were just making YouTube videos, and it was like a joke that maybe we could meet someday, but there was no real way of thinking about how that would happen. And then we got invited to do a show, and we only had to do 30 minutes. But we didn't have a lot of repertoire, so
Take
3 of 5 songs were Take
that's
6
great.
songs.
Yes. Yeah. After meeting, we had like 3 days or something before,
Yeah,
or if
pretty
even
much.
the backyard concert might have happened before.
Yeah.
That. But we met, and then we're like, well, I guess we're putting on a show now.
Yeah.
So Then when we started to get, you know, more gigs, it was like, well, we're not a Take Six cover band, and like it would be different if Take Six weren't still performing, like, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We have a couple like full tributes in our set, but they're to groups that aren't performing anymore, and it's like more of a historical thing. If you want to hear Take Six done well, you should go to Take Six show.
So are you struggling with this, that you kind of be compared to them? I mean, it's obvious that you're kind of like, in a way, similar.
It's been useful because people have a way to describe us. And Take Six is a group that we do love, and you know, that have a great reputation in the music community. So for people to describe us as like, you guys sound similar to Take Six, that's a very big compliment, because they're one of the best groups in the world. But no one says you sound exactly like them, because we don't sing their kind of material, and we don't have their same color of sound. Like the tone is different and everything. So
very few people comment actually on that. It's been surprising how few people.
Me for myself, I just use if I introduce you to some people just knowing about a cappella but not knowing about accent, I of course use the shortcut to say like it's kind of like I say that too. It like Take Six, but. Maybe what's your vision of music? What you want to do? Maybe to also have this own identity, like when it comes to repertoire or the future or whatever takes place. What's your ideas, your developments, your dreams to make music? Maybe own songs or arrangements, or what's your maybe direction we can?
I think we try to talk about like the identity of the group, but I also think that there's probably 6 different answers to that, like,
which is great.
You know, not in a way that like necessarily like creates conflict. Although this is the kind of thing that groups like naturally would have disagreements on, because like, you know, everybody has like maybe their version of like where we might go, and it's no matter what going to be some kind of a compromise. But I think you never really finish like figuring out the answer to this, because even if you think you know who you are as a group, you can't do the same thing year after year after year after year. That's not a good idea either. So like, how to evolve is a hard.
With YouTube, it's useful because you can just do a one-off video. You don't have to commit to doing a whole album of a certain type of music. So we can say, well, let's try something in Hebrew, and maybe, you know, we'll find out if people like it or not, or we'll find out if we like doing it, or, you know, and a couple ideas we have is because we have quite a, like, I think the thing that we all agree on that we love about Accent, that in a way is a big focus, is the arranging aspect of the group. Like, we have people who write songs and compose, but the arranging is the stuff that we all really are invested in and like get excitement from. So, but it'd be great, like, for example, James Rose, he has a very unique style, and your name is James Rose, is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Full name.
Full name.
James Michael Rose. And so, you know, maybe next to a song that Simon does, like, it will always sound like Accent, but it'll be like 2 kind of very different shades of Accent.
Yeah, great.
So it'd be, like, one idea that we have is, like, James Rose, we do an EP, like 4 songs of his arrangements, so it's, like, more... has more continuity, you know, and we could do small projects like that or big projects like that where like we have a specific goal, because until now our albums have been pretty, whatever we have finished up until that point we'll put on the record, which has been cool and lots of unique stuff, and now we can kind of try specific ideas and see what people think, because we have the show now, we have enough repertoire that, you know, we can do our show, so now it's like what makes us excited about doing this music. I think that's what we're trying to pursue now.
And I think the more we've got to know each other as well, and each other's voices, and gotten to know what we like about performing and like about our own music, there's also been an element of homogenization that's happened, like togetherness, which has been cool. There have been a couple of recent arrangements that have been like almost a collaboration between like Simon and me, and then a moment where Simon wrote in the style of me, and I think those are kind of like interesting but beautiful moments where it's like it's everyone's influences kind of coming together into the sound, and then everyone brings their own voice and thoughts to these as well.
And one thing I recognized is I met you guys in Berlin, like when was it, like 2-3 years ago, something, so quite a while. So, and since then I really recognized that you really had way better features of each character, and also I like this stereotype thing. So let's talk about this stereotypes, because I think it's what I like about your group is that you have like ways to introduce yourself and to be kind of not just one of accent, but maybe be the particular British one in accent, and you're using these stereotypes. So can you just?
If I'm doing that, it might be without realizing it. Just
no, yeah, but it's
bombastic
that's
American.
great. So,
yeah, I don't know.
So who are the early birds? Maybe.
Oh.
As in
Just
games.
in
Parents.
Like waking up.
Oh,
yeah, like waking
yeah,
up.
yeah, the
I'm
parents.
the one waking up early.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah.
I can, but I don't want to.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know, but the stereotypes, it's like obviously the accent comes up, like our speaking accent comes, and I think like in the show, as far as talking goes, I do more of the talking. It's probably because I don't do as much of the solo singing, so I feel more comfortable like kind of talking and being kind of like funny Canadian guy, you know, doesn't take himself too seriously or whatever. And then, you know, him and I have some very similarities in how we talk and how we act. So if they see us together, it's pretty, oh, those guys are the, those two have some history, some stories to tell.
Yeah. But last night we learned he's from China and from Japan, and what else? What has been? Yeah, I don't know.
But just when he wore glasses, he was.
Great.
Yeah, I think because we don't have any like big choreo, you know, or anything like that. Like it actually works in our favor that we're pretty relaxed about like us doing our own thing, and even like in the concerts we play to each other as well, because we don't get to see each other every day now because of the whole countries thing.
Yeah.
So we get to be ourselves a bit more on stage.
I think one of the things that sets us apart from other groups on stage is the fact that we don't see each other that often. So the fact that we're performing, we're like really, really enjoying, which is the thing we say all the time before we go on stage. Remember to enjoy, because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're wasting your time really. But I think some of our individual personalities come out how we move around on stage as well, because without choreography, it's just like, maybe it's just like dancing to yourself, or it's like doing like this cool march thing to the beat, whatever like really inspires you. And we see each other doing that, and like we smile at each other because we're like, oh, like I've never seen you do that before, and like that kind of energy builds us up together as well, and the audience sees that as well. Like I often scan the audience just to like, not just to like see what they're feeling, but to also like connect with them as well. And like you can see the smiles on their face when you do something that they're like, oh, these are like great people, and like afterwards they want to come talk to us and we want to talk to them too. It's just like we just want to share connection with everyone.
And part of one of the things we have to deal with is because of the lack of rehearsal time, we pretty much really rehearse the songs. We don't really get a chance to do too much of rehearsing like necessarily the show the same way other groups have, which is in a way worked in our favor. So we do have like rough things. We obviously have the story segment that we've kind of scripted out, and then some other parts of moments where we talk, or maybe certain jokes are made or certain topics are brushed, but it's actually pretty loose because it allows for us to kind of do a little bit of improv on stage. Yeah. Because as you can kind of tell in the conversation, like we always have like someone's always got like a funny remark or whatever, and that's why I love this group so much. Like I never laugh so much as when I'm with these guys, because I just think they're so stupid. It's so funny, and they must think I'm even stupider. But it's just so fun to kind of be so relaxed and carefree, and like to be professional, but also not at all in some respects. Like just to be very, very real. And I like it when those moments come off stage where, you know, maybe JB, when he's, you know, English isn't his first language, but he has to talk obviously in English on stage and make some jokes. And it's really funny to see him grow and change and adjust to the crowd around him and to adjust to us. And it's really fun.
Yeah, great. I can imagine that.
I'm sorry to say that I really need to pee.
So you're out for now. That's cool.
Good thing this won't be. Good thing that we're not going to make any edits. In this.
I know, but like I drank like 2 liters of water.
We can get a stand-in to sit there.
Just sort of roll up here. No, maybe since you just said like it's really hard for you to rehearse or to get together, since these are precious moments, you have find ways to maybe make it possible, and one of these ways is Patreon. Yeah. And it's like maybe it's interesting for people who might see this video or might happen to hear you that they have a different way of supporting, which is, I mean, normally you can buy CDs or merch or anything or share the music, but with Patreon it's kind of like a crowdfunding campaign which just goes on and goes on and goes on. And so maybe you can just describe how this works, and maybe also how far did you get with this project, Patreon, so far?
Yeah, we
so does it help a lot?
And the music industry is just challenging these days. You know, it's not really news, but it's been going on for some years. But you know, record labels still exist, but they definitely don't. It's just the industry isn't what it used to be, where like that was your goal, was to like get on a label and then have the label support you to fund your, you know, to put up money so you could make albums and go on tours. And so that's just not really an explicit goal for us. Like it could happen, but even if it did, it still wouldn't exactly work that way, I think, these days. And so, you know, people are pretty used to the idea of like a Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and these kind of sites where you can give money to any cause pretty much. And the difference with the Patreon thing is that it's not just like a one-time project, like we're funding this one album. It's more just like people come and go as they please, and some people have been on with us since we started, and we knew like right away we needed a way to make, like, to have some income coming in, even if we weren't doing shows. And nice job. And so I think it was like shortly after our first gig, we started the campaign, and it was a pretty new site back then too. And so that's almost 5 years, I guess we've been on.
4.5 at least.
Yeah.
So which means you can just go on Patreon and support by giving each money like €1 or €10 or whatever you like.
It can be anything. We have patrons who are pledging 50 cents per month or per project that we post all the way up to like $100 or more dollars. So. Cool. Which is insane. Like I feel like a sense of guilt sometimes when I look at like I can go in the site and see like how much lifetime pledge someone has given, and some people have given like over $3,000.
Wow! But this, on the other hand, it's really like pushing you, right? Because it means like there are people just saying like, I so much support what you do. Keep going, keep going, keep going, which is kind of a good feeling.
I think the main point of it is that, like, to get back to the idea of a label, is like you don't have a label doing this, and instead. When you have patrons and you have some source of like income, it's not enough to like, we love, that would be like a goal. It'd be like we made enough money from Patreon to quit everything else that we do. And maybe that could happen someday. We're not quite there, but even so, we have enough coming in that it's like, it almost doesn't matter how big or small the audience is. You become a patron because you're like, this is the music I want to hear. This is the artist that I want to succeed. And then it could be 10 people, you know, like, and if they give enough, you'll keep going because like it doesn't matter, like you can sustain it. So it sort of takes this idea of like having to be wildly famous or something.
That's great.
Totally away from it, because like we have like 200 people who just like are giving money every month to make sure that we're a band. Like, that's incredible.
And instead of like, we obviously try and do projects that have broad appeal, that reach out to people. That's why we cover sometimes, you know, pop songs just as when they come out, but we also cover all sorts of things because we want to let people who might be fans of certain styles of music to know that we're out there. But at the same time, it's good to know people who really just love us, and to like know that we have a connection with people who, you know, are more of a, you know, a niche audience, because we do a niche style of music. And it's great because not only we get to, obviously they help support us financially, but we have a relationship with them, we talk to them, we have a community.
They come in, and when they come to our shows, we're like, I finally, like, you know, have a face for the name.
And we try and give them, you know, like sneak peeks of, you know, scores or like behind the scenes stuff that other people don't get. And we're trying to do even more of that because we're working on a Christmas album, so anyone who pledges now is going to be supporting that, which is a pretty ambitious thing.
That's very cool. You told me about orchestra stuff going on there, and what is it about?
So for this project we had some song in mind. So most of them are still with our instrument because that's our sound, and I think the people that follow us, they like they expect this a cappella sound. But we already had some collaborations with other musicians, and since we are all playing instruments as well, I think we are all sharing that love for our instrument and vocals. So it was a kind of excuse to get some involvement from let's say big band
Great.
or like strings orchestra. So
In a way, it's like the music that we want to hear with vocal group. Like, you know, Take Six has done some stuff with orchestra, and like the Hi-Lo's obviously with big band. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
You know, we don't love the Hi-Lo's because they were an a cappella group. We love them because they're a vocal group.
Yeah.
And a harmony group, and that's what we are. We
great.
sing a cappella setting most of the time, but being in a vocal group and being able to kind of, the Christmas album is kind of our way of doing the Christmas album that we hoped another group would do. Like, in a way, some very classic, like 50s style jazz with big band, but also with more modern harmony, obviously.
That's
so
great.
it's kind of a mix of things, and you know, James has an original, Danny and Evan have written an original, and we have some stuff that's a bit more current, obviously, but it's like, it's a feel-good kind of Christmas album that we hope people will just leave on the record player,
Great.
you know, for the month of December.
So that's great, and I think every one of you is playing piano for arranging for sure. But what else do you play? Like apart from singing, like drummers or what?
I play double bass
great.
and bass and a small keyboard and
Small
guitar.
pizza?
Yeah, small thing. You're just playing like one octave keyboard.
Yeah.
I play piano and I do electronic producing. So
Oh,
that's
that's
my other
cool.
thing I do. Programs.
That's interesting. I want to know from each
I play the
one.
computer, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of play a little bit of everything. So guitar, bass, piano, drums. Have some experience with saxophones and trumpet and French horn. But like those are very bad, but
Great.
I think that's it.
Percussion, shakers.
Yeah, triangle.
Like recorder or nose flute or one of those.
Yeah, I can
things?
play. Well, anyone can play
Yeah,
nose
that's
flute,
cool.
but yeah.
We should
Okay.
do a project. I'm a famous cowbell artist.
Yeah,
Actually.
Yeah.
Well, famous.
Yeah.
Famous only in Leipzig.
Yeah, only in Leipzig.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's the one instrument I've tried so hard, but I can't.
All
play
my
it.
neighbors know me, so I'm really famous.
Get that guy out of here.
So
I've played trumpet here and there in my life. So yeah.
great.
Yeah, mostly piano or different kinds of keyboards for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly play piano and sing, and have done a little guitar as well, but
Euphonium, valve trombone.
valve trombone.
Oh, I didn't know. Do you still have a valve trombone?
I've got probably 3.
You
but,
have 3 valve trombones? That's 3 more than any other friends I had.
Danny and I actually grew up taking piano lessons from the same teacher, so we would, you know, at the end of the year, you'd have a piano recital where the teacher would have all the students going.
Great.
We would always play, like, I would play a song, and then the next recital he would play it, and then he would play a song, and the next recital I would play the same one, so it was a bit of like, I don't think he really knew who I was, but I knew who he was, and it was always a bit of a competition for me.
Great, cool. So I think we just had a wonderful talk, and we might come to a finishing move or something. But I really like
Finishing move.
finish him. So I would love to hear you sing something, but I mean. Maybe just who makes the decision if it's like, come on, present yourselves, you got one song. It's gonna be a big discussion always, but
Yeah.
what's your maybe favorite song of right now? Maybe some new one or some, I don't know what you feel like.
Yeah, it's really different.
Yeah.
It depends if you want like a ballad or something up tempo.
Yeah. It's,
So what do you want to hear?
We really like Hymn Amour.
Yeah.
That might be
Yeah,
quite a
that
difficult
was-
one acoustic. Though.
Could be.
Yeah,
I'd rather
we
do
can
that.
we can do.
And Kilo's always a more balanced one. That's like, this
Yeah.
is accent.
Yeah.
Most of our
Yeah,
songs.
I wouldn't mind doing something up tempo.
I was going to say a little help.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, yeah. it's
Marrakesh, if you want to do anything.
Sugar.
Ooh,
They have lots of
Yeah,
songs which are worth to
You
hear.
might have to kind
So-
of choose one for
Yeah,
us.
choose one.
Yeah, let's do, because it's quite new and it's a very new video, and I just ask you to, are you singing this at a concert here? And you, well, no, we never rehearsed that. Then you just started singing it and it perfectly went well, so let's maybe hear the Marrakesh thing.
Perfectly the
All right.
writers, maybe.
Yeah.
We're still.
You
Well,
don't
each
got a
version
shaker.
is-
I can do a shaker. You can
Yes,
just
can you? Yeah,
hold me and shake me.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Give us some VP.
Oh, very good.
Each version is, you know, it has a different environment and feel, and that's part of why
We can have
it's
some
cool.
little VP where.
I do some shaking.
Okay, feel Glück.
Our favorite key.
Two. 1, 2, 3.
chickens call. Animal carpet wall to wall. American ladies 5 foot tall and blue.
Sweeping cobwebs from the edges of my
I've got to sweep them away.
To get away to see what we could find.
Hope the days that lie ahead bring us back to where they led. Listen not to what's been said to you, Dad. Oh, don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? Oh, don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? They taking me to Marrakesh. All aboard the train. All aboard the train. I've been
saving all my money just to take you there. I smell the garden
in your hair.
Take the train to Casablanca, go in sound.
Blowing smoke rings from the corners of my mouth. Color curtains hang in the air. Charming cobras in the square. Striped jalabas we can wear at home. Oh, let me now. Don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? Oh, don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? They're taking me to Marrakesh. Whoa, whoa. Don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? Don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? They're taking me to Marrakesh. All aboard the train. All aboard the train. All aboard the train.
We still actually haven't rehearsed that one.
Yeah, that's great.
No excuses.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
It's fun.
It's not so
It's
bad
a
for
very
not
fun
having
one.
rehearsed that one. So thank you for being in Hanover at the Internationale A-cappella Woche. Stay tuned. I'm looking forward who's gonna be artist in residence the next years, and it's maybe hard for them to just stick the level even higher. After we
Just
had
bring
you
us
guys.
back again.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, that's great.
We'll be older and much
Yeah.
wiser.
Yeah, next year you think so?
I really enjoyed it.
It's moving a lot.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Thanks
Beautiful
for having
festival.
us. Yeah.
So thanks for coming.
And you're pretty cool too, Daniel.
Yeah, we love you, man.
Yeah.
Prost.
School. There's nothing in